Down Boxing. My name is Wood. Please check out the website, www.bitedownboxing.com. This could be a moment where I'm like, uh-oh, here come Richard. Because you say something about an athlete or especially a fighter that the average black fan is super excited about. And if you don't share that same level of excitement towards them, not without some disclaimers, or a better way of looking at it, you probably get called all kind of names. But anyway, to back up for a second, I think she's WBO middleweight champion. Savannah Marshall, she took out Femke Hermans over the weekend, third round knockout, left hook, completely put Hermans out. The referee, kneeled down over and called it immediately. After the fight, the unified, what's up, Latours? The unified champion, Claressa Shields, comes into the ring. They have another face-off. And it looks like we're finally going to get this fight that some of us have been waiting for. And like I said, I'm not a Claressa Shields hater whatsoever. I see earlier a very popular YouTube channel, this Showbiz the Adult Cat, killing it, phenomenal channel. But he comes out and says, well, Claressa Shields is in my pound for pound list because she wants all the smoke. She's trying to fight the best. And Claressa Shields is high. I put her in front of a lot of men in my pound for pound list. And I'm just like, how can you let somebody's business situation determine where you rank them as a fighter in terms of the pound for pound discussion? We've seen nothing from Claressa Shields to put her in an overall pound for pound list. How could you put Claressa Shields over the last 3 to 4 men on your pound for pound list? How could you do that? I'm dumbfounded, to be honest with you. You can go out here and like who you like. You can prop up who you like and who you want to be great and everything, but the truth comes out in the ring. Now, has she beaten the people that she's beaten? And she's won probably like 35, 36, maybe even 38 straight rounds, over her last few fights. So she is definitely elite, but I think it is. We have some of these quarterbacks who go to big-time universities. For their last 2 years starting, they never even get their jerseys dirty because they have an All-American offensive line. They get to sit back there for 5 seconds, 6 seconds if necessary. Some of these guys don't even have great arms, but they look great in college because they're throwing to a 5-star, a 4-star wide receiver, and they look great. Same quarterback goes to one of the worst teams in the NFL and only has about 2 seconds to drop back. And now the guy can't even get through 8 starts in his career before they pull the plug on him. So you got to look at the level of competition that people are facing, that athletes are facing, and you got to make your judgment from that. Now, I'm not saying that Claressa Shields is David Klingler or Andre Ware or Tim Couch. I'm not even suggesting that. But I'm just saying when you sit back and take a look at when you go to argue how many titles she has, and that's the basis of your argument, and her being the GWOAT, especially the GWOAT. If you go look at how many of her titles were vacant titles, like she's not even fighting champions. And I don't even knock, the wins over Christina Hammer. I thought that was a great performance. The win over Hannah Gabriels, I'm not even gonna knock her that she was dropped in the first round. I focus more on how she came back and got the victory. But I'm just saying the other 9 to 10 fighters on her resume, you don't even know any of those people. You didn't know those people prior to her fighting most of them. Most of the divisions above, most of the divisions don't even have a legitimate top 10 of fighters. I don't think any of them have a top 15. If you think I'm picking on Claressa Shields, I mean, let's look at the opponent that met Claressa Shields 2 fights ago when she defeated Marie-Eve Dicaire to become the 154-pound undisputed champion. She relinquished those titles. Marie-Eve Dicaire came back to fight for the IBF title or whatever. And they grabbed some person, some woman. They grabbed her and made her the person for her to fight. And she went in there and Marie-Eve Dicaire beat the hell out of that person. That person didn't even look like they belonged in a professional boxing ring. If you look at who Senicia Estrada just defeated her last time out in a title defense. It may have been a vacant title because she was jumping around with her weight and whatnot. But the girl that she fought was not a championship opponent. Two opponents ago for Amanda Serrano, the fight that she had on Ring City, that was another girl that they just grabbed. She was somebody. They just grabbed her and threw her in the ring. Now she fought a hell of a fight against Amanda Serrano. Took a lot of punishment before I think the fight ended up getting stopped from a body shot. But the pool of talent, the number of fighters and the skill level of fighters and the mutual opponents, everything that you would use to base your opinion of a fighter, all of those factors are very different in the women's game. They just are. I'm not sitting here hating. Looking at these two, though, now we have our second mutual opponent. Like I said, they've both fought between Claressa Shields and Savannah Marshall. They've both fought Hannah Rankin and Femke Hermans. Claressa went the distance with both of them. You know, she may have lost a round on one judge's card between both of those fights, but, you know, she swept all 10 rounds and was victorious. Savannah Marshall comes in here and fights them in the last year and a half or whatever. She stopped both of them relatively early. She stops Hermans in the 3rd round. I want to say she stopped Rankin it was before the 5th round, I believe. So I'm excited about the fight. I don't care what Claressa Shields would want to sit here and how she would want to dismiss what Savannah Marshall, how she fights, or what she is, or what she's about. You know, whatever she has to do to sell the fight is totally separate from how I'm looking at the matchup. And I think both of them have interesting things that they bring to the table why I want to see the fight. And I think it's obviously going to come down to Claressa's boxing ability. I think defensively, I think she doesn't get enough credit for being as good as she is defensively. I think she sees things very well. I think she fights very relaxed and very composed. And when fighters are able to do that, you're able to evade shots and slip shots. I love how she approaches working on her craft. I did not like the fact that it seems like she has chosen to kind of like be a counter puncher. Like I'm a hurt people. I'm gonna make them miss and make them pay, and I'm gonna get people out. It kind of like what Terrence Crawford would do, without the results though. So I didn't like that she lowered her punch output against Marie-Eve Dicaire when they fought. But maybe, and I said, I look at this thing from a lot of different angles. Maybe she looked at Marie-Eve Dicaire and was like, man, she reckless as hell. I'm going to just fall back and pick her off here and there because I don't want to get a bad cut. She's rushing in here on me with forehead and elbows and everything. Maybe that's why she fought her the way that she fought her. But I still would like to see what I saw in the Habazin fight when she walked forward and beat Habazin down, worked up and upstairs and downstairs, got a knockdown with the body shot to Habazin. I'd rather see that type of performance. Then on the other hand, here with Savannah Marshall, you know, she has the height, she's rangy. She fights at a little, she's like at this weird rhythm that she's on. I think she jabs pretty well. We see the power. You know, she has 10 knockouts, I believe. Claressa only has the 2 stoppages. So I think it's the making. I think it has the makings of a good fight, good clash of styles. I think they're going to have it in a location over there in the UK where the fan is going to be good. It's going to be a great turnout. It's going to be well received and supported by the fans. And, you know, I salute Claressa Shields for doing the only option that she really had. You know, she wasn't having she wasn't able to do, they weren't able to accomplish what they wanted to accomplish in the States for obvious reasons. So if you can go over to the UK and fight in a bigger venue and have you know, better support, better interest in the event, then that's what you go do. And all the other TV stuff and whatever, it gets worked out. But right, wrong, or indifferent, things didn't take off for her in the States. And a lot of women's boxing, you know, is struggling to really take off in the States. But that's about it. Another thing, you know, I was thinking about, I talked to Tori Nelson prior to her fight against Claressa Shields. I was not pulling for Tori Nelson to defeat Claressa Shields. I thought I would get in touch with Tori Nelson so that I could use my platform, or, you know, so I could use my platform to do an interview with her opponent, Claressa Shields' opponent, so that maybe people would be more interested in who this person is that a lot of people are seeing for the first time. I tried to talk with Claressa, probably didn't get an email returned, or it didn't work out. You know, it didn't happen. But Tori Nelson and her people responded. We talked. But Tori Nelson, when I spoke to her, you know, she came on and said that she was adamant that Claressa Shields didn't have any power way back when. And that's looking like that's what the case is. Can you still box and win fights? Can you even beat people up and win fights? Yes. But in a 10-round fight, you know, how long does Savannah Marshall stay on the outside, you know, and not kind of try to close the distance? And with her length, I mean, she can land from the outside too, but if it's not working at distance, you know, does she close the distance, come in, land some body shots, you know, some hooks, or you know, a variety of other stuff to give herself a chance to win the fight if she can't box with Claressa Shields. So, but Tori Nelson, though, going into their fight, she was 41 years old. Tori Nelson. She was 41 years old when they fought. She had only fought one time in 2016, one time in 2017. She fights Claressa Shields early in 2018. She works for a living. Like, she's a part-time fighter. They go and have their match. Yes, Claressa Shields wins the fight going away. But, you know, you have to sit back and, damn, you couldn't hurt or drop a 41-year-old person who boxes for, you know, for part-time. So I you know, when I look at this matchup, it's 50-50 to me. It may be 45-45, 10. 10% going to whoever is the best on the night of the fight. Maybe. I'm not overly blown away by by Savannah Marshall and her power. You know, I think she would still have to. We still have to see her land these shots on Claressa, who, like I said, I think is I don't want to say exceptional, but I think she's very sound defensively. Again, I told you about, I mentioned that Gabriel's knocked down early in the fight. I'm really not going to say that she doesn't have a chin and she's in trouble or anything like that. I think it's going to be a good fight. I think it may even be, it has the makings to be a great fight. The backstory is there. The clash of style is there. The fan interest across the pond is there. They've done well in building this thing up, with them each of them being ringside for these fights that Boxer has set up, to get us to the undisputed fight. Similarly to the situation with Christina Hammer, where they had a double header. I can't remember who Claressa Shields fought that night, but on the same card, Christina Hammer fought Tori Nelson and pretty much won every round, and also did not drop Tori Nelson or stop her. But I like the way they built that one up, and it ended up, culminating in a successful fight between Shields and Hammer. You saw the men out here picking their fighter and their reasons, who was gonna win and yada yada yada. And then Claressa went out and got a dominant performance. Had Hammer badly hurt. I want to say maybe in the 7th or 8th round. It was sometime in the second half of the fight. But that was a long time ago at this in today's world. That was a while ago. So again, all the foul stuff can be said, all the trash talking can be said and whatnot. But I think for everything that Claressa wants to accomplish with her career, she needs this fight. Women's boxing needs this fight, and Savannah Marshall needs the fight as well. I don't hold it against Savannah because it took this long to get here. Did she have her business team right 2 or 3 years ago when the fight may have been offered to her? Would it have been stupid? Would it have been smart for her or prudent for her and her team to take the fight 2.5 or 3 years ago when she was approached about it? Probably not. Probably not. But that doesn't mean that as time goes on, you get your team together, you see the fight-to-fight progress or improvement, the business side of it starts looking better, her presence or whatever, her appeal and everything, she becomes more of a draw. I think it's coming together at an ideal time for both people, for both fighters. So that's pretty much it, man. I didn't get to see the fight live Saturday night because I think Boxer had the fight, and I think I didn't even look into it. I assumed that she was gonna stop Herman's, to be honest with you, and she stopped her. So I think the only way that we could have seen it was maybe Fight TV or whatever. I know that other site is out there now, payperview.com, I believe is what it's called. I don't know if that platform was picking it up as another option to try to make finding some of these fights or how to purchase some of these fights a lot easier for viewers, consumers, and whatnot. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to check it out, and I'm a little. Honestly, I'm a little concerned that if, with Boxer having the fight when it actually gets announced and whatnot, I got to go and jump through. I got to go put forth some kind of effort to be able to watch the fight. It would be dope if I could just go to this payperview.com and get it. Or if it is going to be on, if Fight TV is who streams it here in the States, is it a simple process to just go in there and get the fight for that night? And, I don't even want to put a price out there, but it's definitely not, definitely not a $74 $74.99 fight, $74, whatever, $74.99. It's not that level of a fight, in my opinion. And if I have to pay that much, I pass on it. I'm not that hard up to see the fight. I mean, got to be within reason. Sorry, it's just where I'm at with it. But anyway, like I said, man, I think it's a great look for the women's game. At the end of this month, we have Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano coming up. I believe that's April 30th. That same night, a fight that's not getting a great deal of talk to this point is unified super middleweight champion Franchon Cruz DeZern taking on Ellen Cederroos, who I think she might be the WBA champion. But I do think that's going to be a very interesting fight. I think it's going to be action-packed. So that fight is out there. Then also no timetable on it just yet, but the junior welterweight fight between unified champions Kaylee Reese and Chantel Cameron, that's also out there. So it's a great, 4 or 5 month period here where we have some excellent fights taking place for the women. And maybe, maybe with that type of lineup of fights for them, hopefully the competition, hopefully the fights are that entertaining that it spurs growth for the women's game. And we're not talking about that the women can't get knockouts and the 2 minute, I know Serrano pushed or pressed Team Taylor about adopting 3-minute rounds for the fight. I know she mentioned that at the press conference when they were in New York City a couple months back. But let's just observe the fight that takes place and respect the skill that we see and go from there. Maybe we still need to address the 2-minute thing, or maybe there needs to be 8 3-minute rounds or whatever. Maybe there does need to be some adjustment. And lastly, before I get out of here, and maybe that's a valid point. If these are the best fights that can be made, and they're somehow kind of like hindered by the time, maybe maybe that sparks some different conversations. Like, we trying to put on premium events, relatively speaking, and our best events really can't compete because of this time thing. Maybe that's a reason for the conversation to be taken more seriously, and for there to be a change in how any future quote unquote premium fights, how they go off. I don't know. Anyway, man, bite down boxing. Let me get on out of here. This week we have it's the return of Ryan Garcia and Tego. Should be pretty interesting. See what happens during fight week. Go from there. Let me get on out of here, man. Enjoy y'all's week. Peace.